recordings for one of our new business hubs that we have started. This stream, though, is um, just to deal with these, talk about these issues that are happening around us, and I hope you guys are getting ready. That's the topic, getting ready. Are you guys getting ready? I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I've often criticized people for, turning everything into a conspiracy. But these are things are not conspiracy. I mean, it makes sense. It's just a smart thing to do is to get ready, be prepared. And I'm getting prepared for these other streams that I'm going to do. So I figured what better subject matter to start with today than getting ready. I had the kids out with me today in the front and backyard. We've been working for these past few uh, days on the landscaping around the house here. And they're learning this new things for them that they're learning. And again, I'm not putting them to work to put them to work. I'm putting them to work to get them prepared so that they get used to having to do things and know what to do, especially with planting and working around with the bushes, and they see me cutting some tree limbs here and there, blah blah blah, so that they can manage themselves when things go south. You know what I'm saying. You guys need to prepare your families for any eventuality. I don't know if you guys been seeing what's going on in Shanghai. I haven't seen much news, just a little bit. But if you look, you see what's going on in China. They have this whole city shut down, locked down, and another one too, I believe is two, if not more. But Shanghai is particularly discomforting. You have people there, usually considered higher class in China. Is it well-to-do? Than most Chinese in China. And these guys are starving. They're literally starving to death. And why? Because no one can leave their homes. No one can leave their homes, and there's no food. They need food. They live in the city. That's a big problem, folks. If you live in the city, this is a big problem. I've been espousing for quite some time, and I'm going to implement in my own real estate development projects a little different way of developing, so that people can have a chance of survival if there's no food, outside, in the local supermarkets or whatnot. I think that people really need to start changing the way they think about how they're living, and what type of make better choices in what they're looking for in terms of purchasing some property. Although this is not the time to be purchasing property unless you absolutely have to move, you have to make a change. But then obviously, and if you're not dependent on employment, you see, you have to be very careful, because that's something else that's going to obviously be affected when things start going down, going south, which can quickly happen. We're going to talk a little bit about Russia. We're going to talk about Ukraine. Things can start falling down, and like a domino effect, one thing to the next thing and whatnot. And we can see ourselves in quite some turmoil, and that could mean unemployment for a lot of people. Again, what is your plan of surviving through unemployment? If everything your life is based on your employment, you're going to be having a little, or not a little, but a substantial problem if things go down south. And really, it looks like they're going there. Even President Biden said so. He said there is going to be problems. There are going to be problems. He said that, there are going to be supply chain issues. They're trying to avert it, but there are going to be issues with food. People are going to have problems finding food, getting food on the table, keeping their families fed. This is not a time to be fooling around, folks. I know you like to do your Saturday thing, and some go to church on Shabbat, others do it on Sunday, whatnot. The weekend, you want to go out and play, you want to go out and do the theater, whatever it is your lifestyle has you doing. But you really should be preparing little by little. It's not a need to go out, oh my God, I got to get toilet paper, I'm going to fill it with toilet paper. It's not about that. It's about, when you go on and do your shopping, just get that little extra canned good, some extra beans, some vegetables in a can. You don't normally eat that, like, Vienna sausage. I was laughing at with my mom, actually. I called her last week. I should call her again this one. And I was laughing, and she laughed too, because she knows that I hate it. I hate Vienna sausages. Those little, I call them Vienna Boys Choir sausage. I don't like, I never liked it. They had a medicinal flavor that I didn't like, an aftertaste that people actually like this. But then I started doing a lot of in the field work, and I had to be out in the car for many hours, and I need something to sustain myself. Feeling hungry, so one of the things I would do was get a can of Vienna sauces. That's the only thing I can carry in the car that I can open up quickly. Just have that with some other little doodad, and put something in my stomach to hold me till I get home. Later on. So I started doing that, and it doesn't bother me anymore. It's certain things. It's funny when necessity makes you get over those little silly things that we don't like this, or I don't like eating that. Like a lot of people don't like eating broccoli. Broccoli, let me tell you something. Broccoli will keep the cancer away from your butt. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's the worst cancer to have. You feel like your half of your body's in hell, literally burning on fire. And broccoli is one of the only things that I hear about, I see, that can help prevent that type of cancer. So I don't see why people, again, forget that you don't like whatever it is that you have a problem with. You better. I think you're not going to like rectal cancer either. And I think between rectal cancer and eating broccoli, which one would you rather have? Rectal cancer! Okay. Some of you would prefer to have rectal cancer. My goodness. Listen, eat the broccoli already. All right. You get over those little things that you don't like to eat this, because one of these days, just one of these days, it's going to happen. You're going to remember me because I told you, I warned you. One of these days, you're going to wish you had that broccoli. You're going to wish you had it. And I'm glad I'm over the Vienna sausage thing. So yeah, I'm loading up on Vienna sausages, man. Just 49 cents in Walmart, baby. 49 cents in Walmart. You probably get it cheap. If you really look good, you can probably get a whole bulk of that, a bulk amount cheaper. You got to get that, because that's like cheap meat. It's something to put in the stomach, and it will hold you through. That's a meal or two, and it's so cheap. And the storage is just a little can. It's just so easy even to carry around, light. And that with some other light stuff, I can tell you about survival. You can do a lot, very light. If you have to go quickly, evacuate, whatever, you can carry a lot of stuff. You can survive with very light things in a backpack or in the trunk of your car. So you need to really be looking at things like that and just buying that stuff. I know you don't like it. I didn't like it either, but listen, it has helped me get through a full day out there in the street, on the road, before getting home. It's many hours. It's been 10, 12 hours sometimes on the road. And, Florida, this roads in Florida and distances are just incredible. Just to go one place to another is like it's a trip, it's a road trip. So, and right now there's places I have to go an hour and a half away. It's just like that's it. We're going to have to do that. Once we get our farm project going, I'm going to be traveling an hour and a half going and coming back in the evening almost daily. So, and I'm used to driving. I have no problem driving. So it's not that I have a problem driving. I love it. I got my Bach. I'm good. But it's still many hours away from the home, and you need things to tie you over. So I'm just recommending people start just getting that little extra thing and putting it away. I also did a series of videos, I think a year ago when the pandemic hit, on survival, on storage in your home, setting up a system so that the kids, because it could happen that you guys are working, adults are working, and then the kids are get home from school or they're alone in the home and you guys never show up. It could happen. I'm always things can happen. You can have protests out on the street. All everything is shut down. You can't. The other day there was a train. I don't know if it derailed or whatnot. It was across the roadway, and we couldn't move. It was very, very a very bad situation. A high volume of traffic. It was ridiculous. Imagine you're trying to get to your kids. Something happens. Something blows up, right? Or some crazy thing goes on here. There's always crazy things happening. You always think it's always happening to someone else. It could be your turn next. You got kids. Everything is shut down. Everybody's closed up. And you got kids in the house. How are they going to survive? You have to think about things like this. And if you don't have a system set up where the kids know what to do, then that's going to be a problem. So I did some videos showing how to organize the kitchen cabinets and to use it on a daily basis. And that sort resolves two issues that people have. First of all, the main issue that the kids don't know what to do, how to ration, how to organize their eating and stuff like that, at least to know the time, how much time do we have. And in those videos, I showed people that you really should be looking at 2 months, not this government. The government says like 4 days or 3 days or something like that. You guys are crazy. Other people say 2 weeks worth because they're not buying you in 2 weeks, and that's that. But you know what? The Shanghai thing is already at a month length. There's another town next to it that shut down earlier still. They're looking at already a month of not being able to go out and get food. Okay, I always recommend that 2 months that you need to have in the house for the family to survive for 2 whole months before you start having to go into an external storage, which I also do recommend as well. So you have that internal in the home 2 months of food, and then you have an external source for another another month or more before you have to go out. You have to abandon ship, so to speak. So if they don't get to you in 2 months or 3 or 4, you're going to need to get your butt out and move out. I also recommended the third phase, which is to have a distant property where you can then go there and have at least sustenance, and that property should be give you sustenance, should have storage, stored foods, and also the property itself. It should be out in nature, out where there's animals roaming around, where you can hunt, where you can fish, and prolong your ability to survive and your family survival. So I repeat it here for those who've never seen those other videos, so that at least you can get the idea of how really you should be organizing and planning. Some people just think about the condo with the nice piano and the lobby and the pool or whatever. Those things are not going to matter. All those things are going to be a monument to stupidity sooner or later. And the people going to survive are the ones who were able to prepare and and extend humbly, getting ready to live off the land, because that's the bottom line. There ain't gonna be no supermarket. There ain't gonna be nothing. No Amazon. Amazon's already in trouble. The union got in, and Bezos is not there. So the brain behind Amazon, who admittedly needed to have it ununionized, is not there now to help the company through the unionized phase, which is what's going on, is what's happening. So that's going to be something else. And then, like Shanghai, all we need is another thing to tip it over here in the United States and cause a great supply chain issue, more than what we have now. Even now, there are things you cannot find in the stores. It's amazing. Other things are finding their way, but not even though other things are finding their way, there's things that are not arriving into the shelves. That's already showing you a problem. Is it a beginning problem? Is it a problem that has been going on for a while? Most likely. There are things that you're not noticing, right? You have to be looking. There's certain areas in the supermarket that are going bare. And all that needs to happen is just something else. Like I had already also talked about it, just the complexity. The next thing I had prognosticized or made a prophecy. I'm not a prophet, but I said something that is going to be worse and coming in the future would be a complexity, a complication of things, not just a pandemic, but then the pandemic with the protests, right? And then the protests with something else, right? So once the things start complicating, it could be Russia. The other complication would be Russia, Ukraine, China. Any one of these things at this moment can tip the jar over, or can make everything just tumble down, and then we're in trouble. And people in the city, if you're in the city, even the Bible tells you about, oh, if you're in the city in those days, you better run to the mountain, because the simplicity is that the city life is not conducive for surviving these types of issues. City life is made, and what people don't understand in the U.S., they were saying, why the farmland has more voting power than we here in the city? There's more people in the city, yet you have all these empty areas out there in the middle of the country with great political power. Why is that? The reason for that, because you all need those farmers over there, because without them, you're done. Because the city does not produce food. Those big open areas with those what do you call white farmers or whatever, uneducated farmers out there, which they're not, they're very educated, but the farmers over there, they're the ones that feed you. That's why they get more voting power over there than those in the city. That's why they need less people in those areas to affect a political outcome. That's why that is. And you'll realize that, because all of this insistence on the city votes, the people in the city, oh, we got to join together and we got to vote this way, vote that way. All you're doing is putting pressure on the farms in this country, right? And when the time comes, you won't have any food to eat. That'll be you. You'll be done, because all you're thinking about is city, and we in the city, and this is the way we need it in this city. And hell with those peoples over there in the middle of the country. It doesn't matter. There are only a few of them. But it's going to matter, those few bring in so much food to the big city to feed all of the city folk. So it does matter. So you guys can't be stupid. You know, a lot of people are just so dumb and stupid. They're just looking at everything selfishly, and then not. Because if you are selfish, be selfish. I need food. I'm gonna vote with the farmer. What does he need? He says he needs this, that. I'm gonna vote for that. Because if you were smart and selfish, you would help the farmer. You would vote his way. What did he do? He's voting Republican. I'm going over. But I won't go that far. I was like, oh no, don't go there. But the point is this: you need to help the farmer because he feeds you. He's the one that's putting food on your table, and he's the one that's going to have the food when y'all are dying of starvation. See, that's why I'm getting my farm business together. My family's gonna have. I don't think about myself. I'm already older. It doesn't matter to me. We got young kids here though that we've been helping, foster care, therapeutic care, adopting. That's what we've been doing, and we do what we do because we have a brain, and that brain is telling me to prepare and make sure that they have something to eat when most people are going to be starving. Okay, and that because they did not prepare. This is squirrel time, folks. Squirrel time. Go around, look for those nuts. Go collecting those nuts that you don't like. Oh, I don't like this nut. I don't like that nut. Go get those nuts. Okay, and store your food and learn to cycle through. You guys need to change the way you're living, and maybe nothing happens. Beautiful, beautiful. Doesn't change a thing because when something does occur, you're going to be ready, and that's the most important thing. So I'm just letting you guys know that it's time for you to change from supermarket visit to supermarket visit. If that's what you're doing, you are getting ready for only one thing: that's disaster, starvation, and death. All right, so we don't need zombies. Ain't gonna be no zombie anything. There's just gonna be hungry people, and there's no greater zombie, no zombie that can overcome a mass of people that are hungry. It's simple. Those are the zombies. Those are going to be the zombies. They're going to be hungry people. All right. So again, they didn't prepare. They were busy fooling around, smoking, partying, having babies. I don't know why, because they get thrown into foster care. Don't stop it already. But anyway, this is what's going on. So, like I said, we're making our moves. We're doing our thing to get everybody here at least situated. And I'm trying to teach y'all. I'm trying to give you guys, outside of the faith, outside of religious things, that you really should be preparing yourselves and your families. Preparing at least 2 months. 2 months, folks. 2 months, especially now with the Biden administration. Give the man some time to figure out how to fix something. You'll need it. And you guys going to need it. You're going to need at least 2 months before you have to go and expand or extend to another, like I said, another storage of supply, another cache, as is referred to, and then a third where you have to relocate to something else that you may have out in the woods, out where there's animals and things to hunt and fish to eat. So you need to prepare. And this is the way you need to be looking at it. Forget all this frivolous. I'm into real estate, but thinking about condos and high class this and mansions and all this, it's just garbage. It's really all garbage. All of those places are going to be garbage sooner or later. The only great place to be and live will be that humble little mobile home cabin in the woods, where you say all the poor folk are living out there in the mountains. These guys, they'll be living. They'll be eating. They'll be eating good, while everyone else in the city will be starving to death. And that's the facts of life. So again, start thinking the right way and make some quality decisions before everything goes bad. I'm sure the rich folk in Shanghai, China, were living fine until something happened. And now they're starving to death. All in their high tower like residences, high cost, high priced condominiums, living, higher than everyone else. Hey, we were in Shanghai. We're Shanghai. We're great. And now, where are they? Right? I'm sure they would rather be barefoot out in the mountains of China because these folks are eating. They're surviving. They're eating. They're by the stream. They're by the lake. They're just throwing their bamboo stick and they catch fish. But you can't do that from a tower, an ivory tower. You can't do that. You better rethink what you're doing. What's important. Okay, so and prepare your kids. Your kids need to learn how to survive. Some things can wipe out everyone. A lot of people and the kids will be here, and they don't know what to do. You have that what they call that the hunter thing. Not Hunter Biden. I'm talking about the movie. Um, is it called Hunter or whatever? Lord of the Flies is another one. They had these hunter games. Hunter games, right? Uh, that's basically what your kids will be left with. You guys got to really think. These movies. You call them movies. They're stories and things like that. But there's always a little bit of a possibility that these conditions may happen, may occur. Are your kids ready? Are your kids ready to survive? Do they know how to hunt? They should. There's a lot of people out there. The one thing about having guns, I grew up in New York City. We heard a lot of gunfire back in the day. As I was growing up, I grew up in the housing projects in New York City. So there was a lot of gunfire. But I bet you those guys shooting those guns couldn't hunt a lick. They couldn't aim even in New York City because they would be shooting somebody on the street and then a little kid on the fifth floor of a building would be shot. It's ridiculous. They're bad shots, right? They got a gun, they don't know how to use it. You need to prepare your kids to know how to use a gun and know how to hunt so they can live, survive when things go down. You know, it's just incredible the amount of. I guess it'll all end then, right? That's the day the stupid ends. Will we be relieved? Maybe that's the relief. Maybe the pot is the pressure is so high now. So much stupidity in the world. It's steaming. You hear the pipe, woo, the little valve on the steam pot, right? The pressure cooker. Bzzz. It's time to blow. This thing has to blow, and then it relieves itself. Right. So maybe it's due to happen. So, like I said, we're preparing here a few things on my computer here. Also, where we're putting our farm project, it's a little bit out in the boondocks. Not so much so, but enough that we won't have internet connection. So we won't have any internet connection, and we can always get satellite, but that's not good for what I do. And we're looking at getting a what do you call that? A hotspot. I see that there's a certain hotspot. I think it's what is that? I forget the company name right offhand, but they make a hotspot that has been people are saying it's very very good. And these are people who live way out in the forests, far away from civilization, and they have tested it, they've used it, and they have found it very effective with great speeds. I would dare say competitive with a lot of cable users out there who have cable internet. So, and he showed on his YouTube channel, he actually showed the speed test, and that thing was burning up. They're really good. I said, yeah. So that gives me hope that where we're relocating will be okay for internet. I'll be still doing these apps on site, so we'll see. There's no way to know until we get the equipment and set it up at the location, and hopefully we will have continuity with our broadcasting. How are you guys doing? I'm not. I don't have the chat open. Only Haps is open directly, or maybe someone can chat. You have a question, and say hello. Always remember to follow, friend, share, do all that thing. People need to understand that really, if you're doing anything else except preparing your family for a Shanghai type of lockdown, especially if you live in a city, then you are totally foolish. You're doing the wrong thing. Don't tell me you love your family, because you are doing the wrong thing. Everyone should be preparing. And that doesn't mean going out and buying toilet paper either. Okay, it means having 2 months supply. 2 months. So don't go out today or tomorrow and get 2 months worth. No. But every time you go shopping, like every week, if you go shopping every week, then you buy your weekly stuff and then a little more, 2, 3 days more for storing. And you start every week, you start building up. I don't believe something's going to happen really soon like that. So that's not what I'm saying, but eventually it's going to happen. You would have been better that you've been prepared. We've been prepared here since COVID. And since COVID started up and whatnot, we got ourselves getting prepared. I did everything. I did all you can imagine to prepare, all types of food, including living food. Okay. So I did everything like that. And we're still prepared today. We're still prepared now. And as we move to our a more wide open space and where we can do anything that we want to do, then we'll be even more so. But again, this is not something that everyone can do, but everyone can in their home, even in an apartment. If you live in an apartment, you can prepare. Okay, there's a lot of things that can be grown in a container. You'll be surprised. You just have to look at these things. What can I grow in the house so that we can survive if there's no food in the supermarket? There's things that you can have right now in your home growing in a container to help your family over some supply chain issue and some lockdown that you guys can eat. So you need to look at that. There's things, again, there's things that you are not accustomed to eating and putting in a salad, or some of you don't like salads. That's another thing. You don't like salad. You need to love salad, because salad's going to keep you alive. You know, the lettuce will grow quick. Lettuce, radishes, beets, these things, and beets have high sugar. So, talk about the sugar content, sugar you need for thinking, and you need to sustain yourself, unless you're diabetic and the sugar is no good. But you always need a little sugar. You always need something to keep your brain functioning. So, again, but these things can be grown inside the house in containers. And you need to get those things going and have that. If something goes on in your city, and there's no food, you need to know that you got some food there. So it's very important. The storing is as important as growing. So you have fresh food, fresh food. There's this one guy that we saw on, I think, Agenda Free TV. He showed a Twitter of a fellow in Shanghai, and that guy has some food stored. So he has some stored food, and he can survive for a few more weeks. But he says that he misses the milk, right? He needs the fresh stuff that he's missing. See, and that's where the people out in the country folk, ooh, those nut cases, yeah, they will have fresh milk, right? So you gotta understand, they'll have fresh milk, they'll have fresh food, but you can't have a cow in your apartment. Many of you may have a cow in the apartment, but it's not the one that gives milk, right? But you can't, since you can't have a cow in the apartment, but there's other things you can do, like powdered milk. You need to load up on that powdered milk. How about the Parmalat? People don't like the powdered milk, but let me show you a little secret. What you do is don't use all your milk. Your milk can last, let me see, it can last about a fresh milk in the refrigerator. It could probably last you there like a week and a half, or a little bit like that, or 2 weeks, right? When you get that date, you go by that date on the gallon. But a way to stretch out your milk is to mix it with the powder milk. So you prepare your powder milk, and then you put a little bit of the fresh milk in it. And because I know the taste of powdered milk is sometimes the taste doesn't taste right, not like you're familiar with. But if you put some of the regular milk in there, a little bit, then you extend the milk that you have, and that's a good budget money saving tactic as well. But then it helps you to extend the duration of your supplies of the fresh stuff. So immediately when the fresh stuff, when there's a problem, there's no more milk in the supermarket, or it's costing like $10 a gallon or something like that, you're going to see it. Listen, it's going to happen. $10, $20 gallon milk, it's going to happen. You can stretch out that $10, and it doesn't hit you as badly as other people who haven't prepared. This is an issue of preparation. That's what it is. Prepare and be smart about it. All we need is to find a way of powdered gas. Do something that you can add and make more gas from the little bit you get. That'll be a good thing. But you can do that with milk, and that'll extend your supply of fresh milk, and it also extends your supply of stored milk, of the Parmalat, or of the powdered milk or something like that. So those are good ideas. But you need to look at all the possible ways of extending and making food last. And also change your preferences, and begin to start eating. You should. Another recommendation I make for you and your children, if you got children especially, is have a camp night. Just call it a camp night. You can do that in the middle of your living room in an apartment building in any city in the world. And you just have a little camp night. You do like the kids do. They like to put the blankets between the two beds. So you do have the sofa, the love seat. You put the blanket like a little covering there. If you have a tent, then put the tent up in the living room, and you make believe that you guys are outside camping. And so we're camping. We can't have that barbecue chicken in the oven or anything like that, right? So you got to start getting the kids used to eating, the survival food, the stored food, and that's a good time to show them where things are in the house, and what to do, how to ration the food. We're out here, so we have to ration it. And this is what we're going to do, this and that. Of course, you're not going to light a fire in the middle of the living room, right? But you have to use the stove normally. If you have that, or if not, let's say that tonight we don't have any firewood, we don't have any fire, so let's learn to live without it, and show them what to eat that they don't need to use the stove for. There's no gas, there's no electricity. What are we going to do? So this is what we can do here. You can do that with even with the camping stoves. You can do that for one night. You gotta be careful, but you can do that. Set it up on the stove, and you set it up there, and at least they get to learn how to use the camping stove, how to light things, and what to put on it, and what to cook on it, and things like that. You need to prepare your kids so that they don't get frightened when something goes on. Also, when things are going bad, they don't get all nervous and anxious, and that can be very damaging for a child. And if you have children that have problems, mental problems already, normally, then you have a serious situation. So you need to prepare them through these activities, fun activities, that this is what we can do. And everyone loves the marshmallow, right, over the fire. So it's a fun thing for the kids. So that when the real thing happens, when it really, everything hits the fan, okay, it's time to play. That you guys are worried because you're adults, but you prepared, so you're not that worried. But the kids are okay. They go, oh, we're going to do what we've always been doing. See, so that's fun, and we get the marshmallow and all that. So as long as you got that, make sure you got a supply of that. Uh, then you're okay, and they're okay. Mental health is very important during any emergency. I'm a psychotherapist, for those who don't know, and authorized in New York, uh, and also a Christian therapist here in Florida. Okay, so I do a lot of counseling. I help a lot of people in many different areas. So this is something to help your kids. As I told you, I'm a therapeutic foster parent as well, and I've adopted children here in Florida and in New York. So these kids, especially the kids that we take care of, they need some preparation. Okay, and the preparation should be ongoing right now. So if you have any kids with any type of problem, you should be helping them now to learn through play, through activities, how to survive and to be able to take care of stuff. And you have your little kid. When you have a little kid, you have to help them to play the game of staying in control and staying calm and figuring out how to solve XYZ problem. These are things that all parents should be doing with their kids. Even when there's no fear of anything happening, just simply prepare your kids for living, prepare your kids for life, you know and when things happen, they'll remember and say, well, dad used to say this, or mom used to tell us this, and we used to do this, so let's do it this way. You have to make it so that the kid can remember, this is the way we used to do this and that and XYZ. And that's the way you need to prepare your family for emergencies and things that can happen any day, which is we're seeing happening around the world. Different places around the world are going through these issues. Then there's a real possibility, folks, that this Russian thing, it will turn into World War III. It's a possibility. You know what? I don't feel it. I don't feel it. And if I did, I would tell you, but I don't feel it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be ready for it. And that's the one thing that I do feel that you should be doing. You should be prepared for a World War III and what that means. Okay. And it means everything that I've talked about up to now. It means being prepared both in your local home and externally. You have something in storage, or you have another property someplace. If you need to evacuate where you're at, or the food has run out where you're at, it should be 2 months or more later, then you know where to go and move your family where you will have food ongoing, either with the stored stuff you have there, plus the living food from around the where you put your whatever the cash you have. Cash meaning food storage and other survival type of storages. So that is always the best thing. And some people have that in other countries, by the way. That's also another dimension. They say if being in the U.S. is too hot, well, then, be able to go and do the reverse of Mexico immigration and migration and just move down south instead of, against the wave coming up. The thing would be to have a place where you would, that would be like the last of the last stands for you guys to be survivalists. So that's really hardcore. But if you have the means of doing it, some people have ties. They have family ties. They say, I know where to go. If everything else fails, I go to my cousin down in whatever, Costa Rica, in South America, whatever country, and I know I can, stay out there. And he has a lot of fruit trees and a lot of, food trees, vegetables and salads and trees like that and growth that can support life. And he has a river there, and that river has a lot of fish in it. So if you got something like that in another country, man, that would be my plan D, like the last thing to do if everything else or when everything else empties out. So again, this is what would be done, and what I suggest that you guys really start looking into as much as possible. Forget this condo business and living high class and all that. Is really just when there's no food, it's all garbage. You wouldn't be able to sell it even for a loaf of bread. So don't waste all your life trying to get stuff that's no good when things are bad. Use your energy to have things that will last, and all those things will not last. You can ask anyone in Shanghai right now. All of that is garbage. The only thing that matters is being able to survive, you and your family. That's the most important thing. And if people don't look at that and say that that's good and that that's successful and all that, they can ask the people in Shanghai, what is success? What is successful? Living in a high class ivory tower, is that success? Or is success eating off the land right now while everyone in that ivory tower is starving to death? Which one of those are successful? So I think we need to redefine what success is and what is important in life. And that's why I'm building the farm project. With the farm project, we have the 343 initiative that those who follow us know about. 343 initiative has solved the hunger, homelessness, and poverty issue. We have an effective program, and the farm project that I have is part of that also, and it's a great program for people to anyone can help and be a volunteer in it and start up a local 343 initiative. So anybody who's interested in doing something that'll really make a difference and solve the issue once and for all, then communicate with me, and we'll get the thing started over there. We have in the farm project also, I'm reaching out to other farmers, property owners to see also how many of them will also help and start out one of our 343 initiative branches. All right, so that's happening as well, along with this farm project. So we're really excited about being able to progress in this fashion. We hope that we can maintain it. I'm not in my studio for those who haven't watched us in a while because we're in the move. We've been moving for 5 months already. So we're right now nearing the finish line. So we hopefully we'll have everything accomplished in about another month or so, and then we'll get those things started. All right, guys, I don't want to keep you too long. I just, if anyone's interested in knowing how to set up your kitchen, how have the woman of the house or whoever does the kitchen cabinets, how to set it up for survival, especially if you have kids. We do the kitchens and we do the pantry, right? Talk about the garage if you have one. So those are the three main areas that need to be organized in a certain way. I have those videos on my Facebook profile. I know that everyone who's watching doesn't have access to that, and I haven't really put it up on any type of. It's not something I'm selling or anything like that. It's just videos like this one that I make to just inform and help people out. They may be on one of the YouTube channels. We have the Global My CBH Network channel, and then I have the TSPCI channel, which is a religious-based channel. But I believe that some of these videos I did as a Sunday teaching or something like that is possible. So just do a search on those two. I'm not sure. I'm going to look for those videos and see where they are and try to make them more accessible for folks. I think now the time is coming to that they would want to see those resources. So I'll make those available. Otherwise, we have some programs that you can join. The Emergency Owners Association, which I called it, is it's a way to prepare, to be prepared for emergencies as well, with a separate, independent supply of food. When the supermarket goes, there's nothing else, you will still have food coming into your home. So that's a project that I did about right before the pandemic. I had started that project. So that project is still there, so you can still do that, and that's a way of preparation as well. Also, you can get that information by contacting me as well. And so that's that. So I think I'm going to end the broadcast right now. And I hope you guys are doing the right thing. Do the right thing for your family, for your community. Right now, what we're doing, we're helping communities, we're helping people. And so that's something that each of us can do. And you will be worthy to be a survival or a survivor if your ability to help is there. Yeah, if you're a helper, if you're a scavenger, then you're one of the zombies. People who didn't prepare, then you have to scavenge. So you have to choose what you're going to do and how you're going to survive. I don't think the scavengers will do very well. You'll have a lot of competition, but those who are prepared, they will be the stronger force, right? And the ones that will reconstruct anything that is knocked down. And I hope that's you. Take care and be well. Pray for the people of this world, the ones who are dying every day, the ones in this front who are affronting evil and craziness. Lord have mercy. And for every one of you in the city, prepare. Prepare as much as you can. I cannot overstate that. You need to be prepared. We have options out here. We're more in the country, and I'll be going further in the country in a few weeks. But you guys in the city, you guys have to be prepared, and you need to do it now. So start looking at YouTube videos, what to grow in a container. Go get those seeds. The stores have the seeds right now. And start growing your food. And start learning how to live and how to like what's grown from the ground. Because one of these days, sooner or later, that's all you will have to eat. Take care, and God bless you all.